German New Medicine is a threefold understanding of biological entities that sees the triad of mind, psyche, body as one inseparable unit. As such, it is the biggest challenge medical science has ever faced. It's a macro-level understanding that works off the cosmological integration of biological processes. It doesn't view conventional understanding of disease as wrong, just incomplete. In fact, disease in German New Medicine is seen as a special biological problem to help people and animals adapt to what's happening in the environment. And on my BitChute channel, I have a more complete video that's over half an hour about this theme. German New Medicine is also referred to as the 5 biological laws. And this model was developed in Germany by Dr. Reichhammer after his son was shot. His son was shot by the Prince of Italy, and shortly thereafter, Dr. Hammer developed testicular cancer, and he thought that the connection couldn't be causal, and he started researching, and he went to work in a clinic in Germany studying breast cancer, and he proved his theory. He went back and got a PhD, and he documented hundreds and hundreds of women that circulated through this breast cancer clinic, and he was asking them about what was happening in their lives, and he was able to map out a model, not just for breast cancer, but from all disease, why we get sick in the way we do. So German New Medicine answers the question, why do we get sick in the way we do, when we do, and how we do? So in conventional medicine, it sees breast cancer as genetic. Excuse me. It sees breast cancer as something that's part of your genes. And everything is now explained in terms of genetics. I'm going to pause it. In fact, this idea of breast cancer being genetic in origin is now carried to the extreme conclusion where men are now encouraged to be tested for the breast cancer gene. Maybe they're asymptomatic carriers. Well, really, because in the propaganda now for breast cancer testing, which is entirely, it's not based on symptoms anymore, it's based on whether or not you have a gene. They encourage men to get tested for breast cancer to see if they are at risk of transmitting this to their daughters. That's how it goes. But according to Dr. Reichhammer, whether a woman gets breast cancer or not is not determined by her genes. And breast cancer is not seen as something that's bad, but seen as a special biological program aimed at helping the woman adapt to circumstances. So the increase in cells, which is interpreted by conventional medicine as a cancer, Dr. Reichhammer would say that's the increase of cells is there to help a woman through a nest-worry conflict or a separation. So he was able to map out something happens in our lives that affects the psyche, that affects the mind, that affects the body. And he was also able to map out which parts of the brain control which parts of the body on the embryonic level. And that's why what his research is so revolutionary, and people are now getting their PhDs in this model. He was able to map out which, on the germ layer, it's called the germ layer, it's bacteria in the brain, but certain bacteria in certain parts of the brain that control which organs. So German New Medicine is the biggest challenge that medical science has ever faced, and he proved it using computer tomography. He was able to show through Simon's computer technology. You'll find a lot of debunking articles online, and they repeat claims that were made before he was able to verify it using this computer tomography. And it's very, very in-depth. Spent the last 2 years studying German New Medicine, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface. So I encourage everybody to go to my BitChute channel. I'm censored on YouTube, but there's a further, more in-depth explanation on my BitChute channel. Yeah, but German New Medicine. And one of the most exciting intellectual histories over, I think, ever is how during the last 10 years of Dr. Hammer's life, he actually worked with Dr. Stefan Lanka. Dr. Stefan Lanka of the measles trial fame. Dr. Stefan Lanka had heard in Germany, had heard about his research and approached Dr. Hammer, and together they honed and refined and hammered out, and he was able to work with, Dr. Hammer was able to work with arguably the most famous biologist of our time. And in many ways, after Dr. Hammer's death, Dr. Stefan Lanka has become the main spokesperson for German New Medicine. I think that we underestimate, too, the way that Dr. Reich Hammer was an HIV dissident. I think in history we'll see him as one of the most important voices to question the HIV equals AIDS hypothesis. So in some of Dr. Hammer's early writing, he was referring to measles as a virus, but later he didn't do that and he incorporated the idea that viruses don't cause disease. He incorporated that into the 5 biological laws. German New Medicine. It's going to be the medicine of the future.